What's up, everybody? I am here in beautiful Banff National Park, Canada, and I can't think of a more suitable video for the first video of today's channel than to talk about some of the holidays that you get for being an international teacher, teaching abroad, because obviously everybody understands that one of the bonuses of education is the time off. So I wanted to talk about the holidays you get through an entire school year. So we're going to start in September and work our way all the way through a school year and then talk about the summer. But I'm not just going to tell you what holidays you get during your average calendar at an international school or a bilingual school in China or other countries. I'm going to give a little bit of like context to what kind of holidays a lot of international teachers do, where they go, how they spend those holidays. And I want you to bear in mind, right? Like, as an international teacher, a lot of people don't understand that depending on the country you're teaching in, you might benefit from very good purchasing power. Whether you're teaching in China like myself, or you're teaching in the Middle East, teaching somewhat transitions into a relatively like lucrative career. So lucrative in terms of like education, because as I understand, a lot of Western countries right now, with the high cost of living and teacher salaries are not necessarily catching up to that necessarily where you live, you might not be able to fully partake in the time off and where you can go throughout your holidays. So me, I'm an international administrator at a school in China, and I've been there a while. But whether you're a starting teacher or you're someone with a master's degree, lots of qualifications, and you've been teaching for a long time, whether it's base salary or upper high salary, your salary teaching in the far your salary teaching in countries like China, Japan, depending on the school, or places like Qatar, Bahrain, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, when you come back to other parts of the world or your home country, you can fully take advantage of these holidays like I'm doing right now here in Banff. So let's get started. So one of the very first holidays that you get as a teacher in China, but also understand this holiday exists in other countries, especially in Asia, is the Mid-Autumn Festival. So depending on the year and depending on where it falls in the calendar, this holiday tends to be a long weekend that will fall mid to late September. And so it can often end up being a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or if you're lucky enough in past years, I've had a 4-day long weekend. Oftentimes it's just a 3-day weekend. If it falls sometime midweek, you can sometimes result in make-up holidays on the work days that fall on the weekend. But generally, it's a nice long weekend, a couple weeks into the school year. People that teach in China, they often spend those vacations in neighboring countries. Summer, you get a direct flight too that can often be quite affordable. So I've taken long weekends in Japan. I've taken long weekends in Korea. You can even hop down to Southeast Asia. I've spent this holiday in Laos before, Cambodia. It's a great, nice little long weekend to travel domestically or explore neighboring countries. Next on, this one is a China-specific holiday, and that is the Chinese National Day, also known as Golden Week. Now, some years this holiday has been as long as 8 or 9 days. Last few years it's been a 5-6 day holiday, latched onto a weekend close to the last few days of September, the start of October. Generally, no matter what school you're at, it's 6 or more days, but I've had it as long as 9 if your weekends line up. It's different every year. This is a chance a lot of teachers will travel a little bit further away, really go on a long excursion. I spent a week in Japan during this holiday before. I've traveled to, done some extensive traveling in Thailand. It tends to be a little bit too short of a holiday for you to travel back to your home country, whether that's in Europe, North America. I've spent this holiday in the Philippines, a nice week-long beach vacation. It's a good holiday once you've been a month into school. A lot of us teaching back home in our home country, you don't really get your first big holiday until you hit around the Christmas season. So following that October holiday, you've got a little bit of a break up until Christmas. Now, Christmas depends on the type of school that you're working at. A lot of the international schools will still have a 2-week break for Christmas, in which case a lot of International teachers will return to their home country or take a nice long holiday in a neighboring Southeast Asian country or venturing off to unknown areas such as Central Asia, traveling to Europe. You can 2 weeks really affords you the liberty to go anywhere you want in the world. But I want to comment that some of the bilingual schools will make accommodations to make sure that their Western teachers do in fact get this holiday, but it is not guaranteed. So if you're an international teacher, I want you to understand and I want you to look at whether or not your school offers the Christmas holiday or not, but go in informed. Now, if you're a teacher in China, you know for sure that the Chinese New Year holiday is a big one. And for most Chinese schools, bilingual schools, it tends to be, give or take a couple of days, a month-long holiday, which is the holiday I'm on right now. So a lot of teachers will use this month holiday to either take a quick jump on home, visit family that perhaps they didn't go during the Christmas holiday, and then have a second leg of their holiday in a country somewhere in the globe. Again, because it's a month long, you can get that 9, 10, 11, 12 day, 2 week holiday at home and then go have another expensive leg. I've always dreamed of, I haven't for my own circumstances and because of COVID, haven't yet done it, but I know lots of people that have taken that entire month and they've jumped into India. There are large countries in the world. If you don't teach in China, you're teaching in another adjacent country. China is a good country to jump in for that month because there's a lot of countries like China, like my home country, Canada, like the United States, but of course it's winter during Chinese New Year, places like India, and I know I'm leaving tons of countries out of this list, but countries that if you don't spend a month there, you can't do it justice, but also need to say that a lot of countries in the world, 1 month is not enough, but you don't have infinite holidays, so you need to choose your holidays in your lifetime strategically, and I save some of those countries I just mentioned for those month-long holidays. Coming back from Chinese New Year, you've got a good 2 months before you find yourself in April for your next holiday, which is a long weekend. All right, so um, that is the Tomb Sweeping Festival. Now, again, it lands somewhere in April, but depending on the year and the school you're at, this can work out to a 3 day long weekend, 4 day long weekend. It doesn't tend to be much longer than that. Again, these are those weekends that springtime people end up scooting over to Japan. Obviously, because you've got the uh, obviously because you've got the flower blossoms that season. It's a great time to explore China itself. Places like Korea are warming up. Southeast Asia is always a favorite. And then for Chinese teachers, if you're in an international school, you have your regular spring break like in Western countries. But if you don't, if you don't have spring break at your school and you're at a more Chinese school that follows the Chinese calendar, you can expect a Labor Day holiday, also known as the May holiday. The May holiday is extensive, pretty much spring break, week-long holiday, similar to that of the Golden Week, the October holiday, that affords you basically 6, 7, could be 8 days, depending on the year where it lines up with your weekends. So time to kind of go anywhere except those like 10-hour plus away destinations. Again, oftentimes people just jump on down to Southeast Asia, get that resort week, beach long holiday. The last long weekend you get, um, late May, early June, is the Dragon Boat Festival. Again, another short, long week holiday, and it kind of gets you that little bit of rest before the reason you became a teacher, and that is summer holidays. Summer holidays, I think, are pretty consistent around the world, but that is the big, massive holiday that everybody looks forward to. I know I plan 6 months in advance. Ever since COVID ended, I've been spending my last 2 summers traveling in Europe and planning these months in advance. A lot of people have been going to Europe because, again, as international teachers, you have a lot more spending power, a lot more savings than your counterparts back home that are dealing with a high cost of living. They can't necessarily afford to spend 5, 6, 7 weeks in the most popular tourist destination in the world. Obviously, for a lot of teachers, it's also a great chance to go home. I need to come back to Canada for summer because Canada's a beautiful summer country. But that's it. I hope you like this channel. I'm going to be making more videos that are specifically about life as an international teacher. And I'm going to try to be uploading a video every day or every 2 days while I'm on holiday and see how you guys like it. Thanks so much. And stay tuned. Bam, here it comes.